Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com. Let's talk about some mistakes you guys are doing with your segmental wires in phase one. And I strongly recommend that you take a phase one course. I, of course, like my course. I have my courses available with CE and without CE. And if you don't even need a course, it's all just on YouTube. So you can go to my channel, Straightsmile Solutions, and check it out. And it's very affordable. But if you've taken my course, you would know all this stuff. But a lot of you guys aren't trying to take the course, and so you're not knowing stuff and you're making mistakes. So and of course I realize that there's a lot of other Straightwire courses that are out there. They might be teaching braces. Straightwire phase one interceptive is a completely different animal. I actually would prefer that you learn it first, but you guys are doing some screwy things with your phase ones. So yeah, I have a way I do it. It might be a little different. So I strongly recommend before you work with me on a case that you actually take my course, because otherwise it may not make sense. And I'm going to assume if you worked with me, you've taken my course or at least watched the videos in the phase one playlist in my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's go over 1, 2, 3 and see what you see. And I want you to take a moment and hit pause and maybe write down some answers. Like, what do you see? What's wrong here? What's going to happen if they do this? Okay, so number one is a Smiley wire. Number two is a Lack-o-Cinch wire. I have all kind of names for things. And number three is Lack-o-Space wire. So I have named things. And if you work with me on a case and you do Zooms or whatever, you're gonna hear all kind of funny stuff because I'm gonna name stuff things. Because I mean that's just kind of what we did in residency. I mean you gotta have a sense of humor about stuff, and that's how you learn, right? Okay, so smiley wires. Smiley wires is what happens when you forget to cinch. Oopsies. If you're too lazy to cinch, you're going to have a smiley wire, which is basically this wire isn't supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be like this. Like it flipped up. It flipped up, okay? A wire is supposed to sit flat, not flip up. It has a certain curvature to it. And the problem with round wires, unlike a rectangular wire that if you had a big enough one it would sit in the slot, is that it's going to flip and rotate, and then you're going to get a smiley wire. If you get a smiley wire, you're going to get the arch looking like this, like a smile, instead of looking around. Well, that's not even right. This side's good, that side's not good, but that's why you don't do that. That's why you have to cinch in, okay, or cinch back while you're in the segmental. And to be honest, it's really tricky to do just a 2x2 or a 2 wire 1x1. You really can't do this. You have to anchor it to something. So if you're gonna, I mean, I don't really see the point. Occasionally I've done only 8 and 9 or upper ones, but that's only like, there's really not much you can do with that. There's no point in bracketing this. It's not going to go anywhere is what I'm getting at. I mean, maybe if you had it connected to an expander and you were expanding the same time and then you wrapped it around, but I mean, it's really hard to do like a long span like that. You're going to have to really pull out some crazy amount of tubing or coils and cinches, and just don't bother. But anyways, smiley wire, don't do that. Make sure you cinch in. And this is what happens when you forget to cinch, or if your cinch breaks, or if your whole cinch slides over and then they cut it, is it's actually going to push this tooth buckle. And I have more on this case actually. If you go into my YouTube channel and go to the phase one playlist, you'll see this and everything about this case. But I was like, oops, this is actually going to extract itself if they leave it like this long term. It is literally going to go outside the bone. This is very, very bad. And the fact that this happens, I'm pretty I mean, it's possible that maybe a patient could have cut it and threw some wax on it, but I honestly think the doctor did this, and that is really, really bad. Okay, so that's Lack-o-Cinch. Smiley wire, Lack-o-Cinch, lack of space. Lack of space is when you are trying to bracket and do phase one interceptive on a case that doesn't have space. There's no space here. What are you doing? If you do like phase one Invisalign first, you will know they will add extra space, but in the widening section, in the expansion portion of the aligners, when we're aligning and leveling, we're expanding arches, you got to have space on either side of the C's. You got to actually have about almost, I would say, not, you got to have space to straighten these, but you also got to have space for these to come up. So I would say almost 0.8, 0.9 millimeters on each side, an extra 1.5 to 2 millimeters on each tooth we need here. Plus we need space to straighten these. So they're a good 4 to 6 to 7 millimeters deficient on the lower space. I mean, why do they even bracket? That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's not going to work. All you're going to do is, it's just going to look stupid like this. That's exactly what happened. So there's no point in bracketing here. They should have either done an expander or, I mean, that's the problem. When you're in phase one, you got a bunch of baby teeth here, so you can't expand with brackets, so you got to expand with expanders first. Basically, that's your only option. Trying to push on teeth that are potentially loose. I mean, if they're really solid, it might work, but then remember, the teeth underneath it are not moving, and then these are moving and potentially damaging those teeth, so that's really dumb. That's why I prefer to use expanders if you're going to have to do this. All right. Hopefully this is helpful. Be really careful with your phase 1 interceptive braces cases. Thanks.